Today we are going to be discussing my biased opinions on Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Disclaimer: topics of murder and mental illness. This is my biased opinion and things I have found on the internet. Please do not take offense. If you are not comfortable with the topics said, please log off. I am not responsible for any emotions that come from this. Gypsy Rose Blanchard is well known and well loved. I haven't wanted to talk about her because of the controversy, but seeing all the sympathy and the love that she's getting, I mean, people wanting to be like her. I've done deep dives, I've read paragraphs after paragraphs, I've read the messages that her and Nicholas have sent to each other, and I've seen what her inmates have said about her. Do I believe everything that's online? Absolutely not. But there is a pattern, and how hard is it to believe that Gypsy Rose is a master manipulator? I mean, her mom taught her well. Gypsy seems to thrive in the spotlight. Without it, she's not getting the attention she's used to and loves. Do I think she's a victim? Absolutely. But I also believe she has more to do with the unaliving of Dee Dee, and of course, once again, that she has and always will be a master manipulator. I have so many questions about this case. Like, why was it that Gypsy was never diagnosed with a mental illness from what was found, but that Nicholas Godejohn was diagnosed with being on the higher spectrum of autism and is not functioning as a full adult? Nobody mentioned that in court. Or the fact that Nick hasn't lied but says he stabbed Dee Dee 4 times, but Dee Dee was stabbed 17 times. Maybe Nick also lied about Gypsy's involvement in the unaliving, and things are unraveling about Daniel Glidewell having something to do with the unaliving of Dee Dee. Also, if you're wondering, I'm reading off of a doc that I set up and wrote all the information down from my stuff, so yeah. Before we discuss the interrogations, let's discuss the events that seemed to happen that night. Like, Gypsy and Nick, of course, they have been Nicholas Godejohn had been talking for a while, and then one day she was like, hey, would you do anything for me? And of course Nick is this love-struck man and says yes, and Gypsy's like, even killed for me? And so from there, they start to make a plan to unalive Dee Dee Blanchard, also known as Claudine Petrie Blanchard. Now, Dee Dee was found to have MBP, or Munchausen syndrome by proxy. I'm sure everyone who is watching this knows everything that went on with them, so I'm going to try and keep it short. One day, Dee Dee was stabbed 17 times in her sleep, and the suspects were Nicholas Godejohn and Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Let's discuss Nicholas Godejohn's interview and interrogation. Nick is continuously asking about how Gypsy is doing and if she's okay. He truly cares a lot about her and is unaware that the first chance she got, she pinned all the blame on him. Unaware that in the future that Gypsy will be famous and Nick will be thrown away and forgotten like garbage. You can tell in Nick's interview that he doesn't fully understand right from wrong and doesn't fully function as a grown adult. There isn't much to really discuss about the interrogation because Nick seems to tell everything from start to finish with no hesitation. One thing I do want to talk about is that when the detectives aren't in the room, it's as if Nick is talking to himself or someone we can't see in the room. It's like he's mumbling stuff, but it sounds like he says something about Dan, as if Daniel Glidewell, had some involvement in the unaliving of Dee Dee. Now let's talk about Gypsy Rose Blanchard's interview and interrogation. At first, Gypsy says she never had anything to do with the unaliving of her mother, although she's the one who planned it. Gypsy had never even showed real remorse for, number one, manipulating someone to unalive her mother, and two, throw away people when she gets what she wants from them, which she seems to do a lot, which also makes you wonder about her recent husband, who I can't freaking remember his name for some reason. I wonder what that's gonna go, and whenever that doesn't work out, I'm sure more things will unravel. Only time will tell. Gypsy seems to be calm, energetic, and acting innocent and confused. To why she is there during her interrogation and before the detectives get in. Gypsy's investigation, before the detectives get there to talk to her, she asks if there are any movie theaters nearby and just starts like talking to the guard about movies, and Gypsy talks about going to Universal and meeting some of the cast of Harry Potter. Just casual conversation. It's slightly uncanny how happy she is, and to seem so innocent and confused, like she doesn't know anything of the situation. She's certainly convinced the guards, and honestly me from the interview, but I mean obviously from what I knew before I watched the interrogation, I was like, well, this is just so uncanny. Like, she is so calm and she is so good at acting. Like, can someone please get her an acting job? She is so convincing. It's so real. Gypsy doesn't seem to get a bit anxious. I mean, Gypsy does seem to get a bit anxious hours in while talking to the guard, shaking her legs and touching her face, becoming impatient with the fact that she wasn't out of there. Gypsy starts to say how she knows 3 numbers: her mom's, Nick's, and her friend Dan's. Gypsy is so confident that after she talks to the detective, she's going home. Gypsy acts like she thinks her mom is alive. When the detective tells Gypsy her mom is dead, she just starts crying as if she had no clue. Gypsy never seemed too concerned about Nick and threw him under the bus as soon as possible. To make sure all the blame was put on him instead of on Gypsy. And it's just so uncanny how she can act one way for this amount of time and then just like change her emotions very quickly. And I mean, it's slightly uncanny, but my biased opinion is that Gypsy is a master manipulator. I believe friends of the family have come out and said that while she was raised, she's a con artist. This whole case and the controversy on it is super confusing. Let me know your opinions in the comments down below. And like I said, this is my biased opinion. And I don't know Gypsy Rose Blanchard, so I can't really say anything about her. I don't know her. I don't know Nicholas Godejohn either. But I do feel like he shouldn't be... I feel like he should be getting the help that he needs. Maybe, like, inpatient help. Mental hospital or something. That is my biased opinion on Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Let me know yours down below.